Hello and welcome to Firstpost Spotlight, where we bring you stories that matter to you from all across the world. From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, we shed light on issues that shape our world. I'm Alison Lagrange, live from Durban, South Africa. Let's begin with the top headlines. Israel says it is sending humanitarian aid to the Druze community in Syria's Suwayda province as sectarian clashes continue to worsen the humanitarian situation in the region, with nearly 600 killed in less than a week. The European Union slaps Russia with a new round of sanctions targeting Moscow's energy exports and transnational banking system, citing the ongoing war in Ukraine. Germany resumes deportations to Taliban-ruled Afghanistan as a batch of Afghan nationals with criminal records takes off for Kabul amid Chancellor Friedrich Merz's tougher line on immigration takes hold in Berlin. The United States imposes anti-dumping duties of over 93% on imports of a key battery component from China, adding to costs for automakers who rely on the material for production. And Malaysia's economy grows at 4.5%, faster than expected for the quarter between April and June, even as the Southeast Asian nation grapples with US President Donald Trump's global tariff rollout. Hello and welcome. We begin with the latest from the Indian subcontinent. India successfully test-fired 3 major missile systems within a span of 24 hours. The tests included the nuclear-capable short-range ballistic missiles, the Prithvi-2 and Agni-1, as well as the advanced surface-to-air missile system Akash Prime. With their clinical precision, India flexed its home-built missile muscle, and everyone from Rawalpindi to Beijing took note. Let's start at sea level, where India's Strategic Forces Command carried out precision tests of nuclear-capable Prithvi-2 and Agni-1 missiles, fired from Odisha's Chandipur range. Now, these are the backbone of India's nuclear-capable short-range arsenal. The Prithvi-2 is a liquid-fueled surface-to-surface ballistic missile with a 350-kilometer striking range. It's known for its pinpoint accuracy, setting up its reputation as the scalpel in India's strategic toolkit. Next is the Agni-1 ballistic missile. It is a solid-fueled surface-to-surface ballistic missile with a 700-kilometer striking range. It's said to be another reliable firing horse in the Indian arsenal. Both missile tests met all operational parameters. And while that might sound routine, when a country test fires 2 nuclear-capable missiles back-to-back, it's not just about technical checks. It's also a strategic reminder to its neighbors of its military capabilities. A reminder that India's deterrence is hot, primed, and looking skyward. Hours before the Prithvi-2 and Agni-1 went up into the air in the Bay of Bengal, up north in Ladakh, India tested its most advanced homemade air defense system. The Akash Prime, at 15,000 feet above sea level, where the air is thin and the geopolitics thicker than ever, Akash Prime went for a kill. It scored 2 confirmed hits on high-speed aerial targets. Akash Prime is the advanced version of the battle-tested Akash Mark 1 and Mark 1S, which served as India's shield against Pakistani drones and missiles during Operation Sindoor in May. It's a direct answer to modern warfare, which involves low-cost drones, swarm attacks, and signatureless intrusions. Akash Prime is now ruggedized for high altitudes. It packs a punch and flies like a hawk at Himalayan heights to defend India's front lines. What makes it so deadly is its operational effectiveness. With a 20-kilometer range, it can carry a warhead of up to 60 kilograms with a fire-and-forget guidance system. It's equipped with automatic threat evaluation features when it's still in the air. At the same time, its launches are mobile and fast, with each capable of carrying 3 such Akash Prime missiles. India's Operation Sindoor in May, launched in response to the April Pahalgam attack, saw Akash neutralizing Pakistani drones in real time. Operation Sindoor also saw Pakistan deploy Turkish air platforms to launch Chinese drones, all aimed at India's strategic infrastructure. India's response, meanwhile, was textbook case of layered defense. Akash, embedded in India's integrated air command and control system, destroyed Pakistani projectiles in the air. Describing Akash-led air defense systems' effectiveness, India's current Deputy Chief of Army Staff for Strategy, Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai, even turned poetic. Lieutenant General Ghai had been serving as the Director General of Military Operations during Operation Sindoor. His throwback to Australian fast bowlers is now seen as a metaphor for India's air defense shield. The Lieutenant General made it clear if your drone dodges one interceptor, there's another waiting in the wings and it doesn't miss twice. Listen in.
70 के दशक में ऑस्ट्रेलिया और इंग्लैंड की फेमस एशेज सीरीज चल रही थी और उस समय ऑस्ट्रेलिया के 2 बहुत तेज गेंदबाज जो कि क्रिकेट हिस्ट्री में बड़ा उनका नाम है, जेफ थॉमसन और डेनिस लिली, उन्होंने अंग्रेजी बैट्समैन और उनकी बैटिंग लाइनअप को तहस नहस कर दिया था और ऑस्ट्रेलियंस ने उस समय एक कहावत निकाली थी, that from ashes to ashes and from dust to dust, if Thomo don't get here, then Lily surely must. और अगर आप इस लेयर को देखें तो आप समझ जाएंगे कि मैं आपको क्या बताने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं. तो अगर आप सारे सिस्टम्स को पार कर भी गए तो आपको फिर भी एयरफील्ड या लॉजिस्टिक इंस्टॉलेशन या जो भी चीज को आप टारगेट कर रहे हैं उसमें पहुंचने से पहले कोई ना कोई इस लेयर्ड ग्रिड का सिस्टम जरूर गिरा देगा.
Whether it's sea-level strikes or high-altitude interceptions, India's message to hostile actors is clear. Try your luck and you'll be intercepted. Mid-air, mid-thought. Now, speaking of defense preparedness in Asia, India is not the only country ramping up its defense capabilities. Taiwan, too, is leaving no stone unturned to boost its defense, to prepare for a potential Chinese invasion. On Thursday, Taiwan conducted its annual air raid exercise in the capital, Taipei. As the air raid sirens wailed, the capital city of 2.5 million people came to a brief standstill. For about half an hour, roads were emptied. People on the streets were rushed to underground shelters and subway stations. Some also retreated inside office buildings during the drill. The city also held mass evacuation drills and mass casualty event rehearsals. The nervousness, anxiety, and uncertainty was evident on the faces of all people, and their reaction to the drill was mixed. Some were optimistic that the drills could help in raising public vigilance in the face of any threat.
This can heighten everyone's vigilance, including the public's awareness. By conducting drills in advance, when the real enemy comes or missiles arrive, we can quickly find places to take cover, such as basements, and figure out how to distribute finances and food, where to buy supplies, and where to access food. This way, we will be safer.
Meanwhile, others remain skeptical. Some of them did not quite believe that the exercises could be of any help if an actual war broke out.
I feel that probably won't be much help. If a war really breaks out in Taiwan, the first thing to be destroyed would definitely be the most basic infrastructure, like power plants. Once those are taken out, Taiwan would almost certainly collapse.
The civil defense exercise was held alongside Taiwan's largest ever war games, the annual Hankuang exercise. Taiwan didn't just rehearse repelling a Chinese attack on its shores. This year, its troops also practiced fighting invading forces in city streets. The self-ruled island's troops simulated various scenarios, including grey zone harassment and long-range precision strikes. Taiwan's renewed focus on bolstering its defense posture comes as China continues to bully its neighbors over territorial claims. China views Taiwan as a part of its territory, and over the past 5 years, it has ramped up military pressure on the self-ruled island. Chinese fighter jets routinely fly around the island. Tensions between the two have escalated since Taiwanese President Lai came to power last year, whom Beijing views as a separatist. Now, Lai has consistently rejected Beijing's territorial claims, and his repeated offers of talks with China have been rejected. Beijing has never announced the use of force to annex the self-ruled island. This further raises fears of a wider conflict drawing in Taiwan's ally, the United States. It is Taiwan's biggest supplier of imported defense weaponry. In this year's Hankuang exercise, Taiwan deployed its newest and most precise strike weapon, the high-caliber rockets from the U.S. This includes the high-mobility artillery rocket system, the HIMARS. Now, China's response to this has been strong. It has vowed to reunify with the island by hook or by crook. Beijing has slammed the exercises and called it a self-deceiving stance. Whereas Taiwan has maintained that by conducting defense exercises, the self-ruled island is not seeking war. It hopes to avoid war by preparing well for it. And staying on with Asia, let's turn our attention to North Korea. The country's supreme leader, Kim Jong-un, remains committed to realizing his military ambitions, undeterred by any failures, and here's the latest proof. A new satellite imagery has come up. It shows that a new maritime pier has been completed at North Korea's key rocket station, which is the Sohae Satellite Launching Station. Reportedly, it is the same facility where the latest spy satellite launches and other rocket tests have been conducted. Reportedly, the newly constructed pier enables transport of larger rocket components than previously possible via rail, and this would allow the site to host rockets that can travel longer distances. This comes after Pyongyang's latest attempt to launch a military spy satellite at the Sohae site failed in May of 2024. Now, despite the failure, Kim has vowed to never give up the space reconnaissance project that he views as crucial for national self-defense against enemy threats. North Korea's growing military ambitions have always been a cause of worry for South Korea. Seoul has accused Pyongyang's close ally, Moscow, of helping North Korea with its satellite program in exchange for sending troops to support Russia in its war against Ukraine. Pyongyang has vowed unconditional support to Moscow in the ongoing war, and Russian Foreign Minister's recent visit to North Korea highlights this camaraderie pretty well. However, North Korea says that its military activities, including the development and testing of nuclear-capable missiles, are its sovereign right and only for self-defense. North Korea has slammed the US and its allies for threatening Pyongyang with hostile policies such as military drills and sanctions. And one of the US allies who has recently come in North Korea's line of fire is Japan. Now, in the latest, Pyongyang has slammed Tokyo for seeking to be a quote-unquote military giant. This comes after a Japanese white paper labeled China, Russia and North Korea as its 3 potential adversaries in East Asia. The paper said that North Korea's military activities are posing an even more grave and imminent threat to Japan's security than ever before. Pyongyang has not only slammed Japan for the remarks, but it has also used the very same Japanese defense white paper to justify its efforts to ramp up its nuclear arsenal. Pyongyang said that Japan's military activities show that North Korea's efforts to build up its nuclear arsenal serve as quote-unquote an indispensable contribution to strongly suppressing the provocations of the US and its allies. The situation in the Pacific remains tense and complex. North Korea's nuclear ambitions and its growing cooperation with its close ally Russia continues to be a point of major concern for the US and its allies in the region. And Pakistan is battling yet another climate disaster. Relentless floods have swept through parts of the country, claiming lives and destroying homes. In Punjab, the most populated province of Pakistan, homes have collapsed and entire villages have submerged. Over 170 people have died in the last few weeks. More than 85 were children. At least 54 lives were lost in just 24 hours. In Rawalpindi, the government has declared a state of emergency and the army has been deployed. Now, rescue videos show children being carried in inflatable rafts.
नौ दिन से बेड जरलिकारी और बेड अशरफ में रेस्क्यू एक्टिविटी जारी हैं, जिसमें प्रेग्नेंट ख़वातीन हैं, बच्चे हैं और माजूर लोग भी शामिल हैं। उनको हम यहाँ से इवैक्यूएट करके THQ शिफ्ट कर रहे हैं और ऑपरेशन जो है वो जारी है। इस वक्त हमारे 5 की पॉइंट हैं जहाँ पे हमने ऑपरेशन स्टार्ट किया हुआ।
In Rawalpindi, a fruit seller waded through waist-deep water, desperately trying to save his cart as floodwaters swept it away. In Lahore, house roofs collapsed following heavy rains, killing an entire family.
जी ये रात को बारिश हो रही थी तो ये छत गिर गई है। छत के नीचे बाप था, बेटा था और उसकी बेटे की वालदा थी। ये तीनों ही जान बहक हो चुके हैं। बारिश इतनी तेज तरीन थी तो पता नहीं चल सका दूसरे लोगों को।
And the damage isn't stopping. In some districts, dams have collapsed under the sheer force of rainfall, sending waves of water crashing into villages below. Residents living in low-lying areas near the Nulalai River that runs through Rawalpindi were ordered to evacuate after a sharp rise in the water level, and a public holiday was even declared. Now, the Deputy Director of the National Weather Forecasting Centre said that the Fatehpur region and Islamabad are the most affected due to rains.
जो है ना ये मानसून का तीसरा स्पेल था और सबसे एक्टिव स्पेल था ये जो है ना जी। तो हम अगर बात करें कि ये आज सुबह जो अर्ली मॉर्निंग लेट नाइट अर्ली मॉर्निंग में स्पेल स्टार्ट हुआ था जो इस वक्त तक जारी है, तो इसका फोकस जो है ना जी वो खिता पठवार इस्लामाबाद था।
In Chakwal district, 423 millimeters of rain was recorded in just 24 hours, triggering flash floods. Nearly 400 people have been rescued in Chakwal region by helicopters. But who is to blame for the situation? Residents say it's the authorities. They say the situation is dire every year and nothing is being done to control it. Who faces the brunt? The most vulnerable. Listen in.
डब्बों से पानी वगैरह बाहर निकाल दिया जाता है, ना हो तो अपनी फैमिली को हम दूसरी जगह पे शिफ्ट कर देते हैं क्योंकि हमारी जानों को ख़तरा होता है। हुक्मरानों ने तो कुछ भी नहीं करना, इन्होंने वीगो डालों में फिरना है, आना है, हाज़िरी लगानी है, चले जाना है। पर हम जो गरीब अवाम है इसमें पिस गई है और अभी यानी कि जैसे आप देख रहे हैं कि हालात बहुत ख़राब होते हैं हर साल की तरह इस साल भी।
नाला लई प्रोजेक्ट जो है ये 90% इस पे काम हो चुका था। हुकूमतें चेंज होने से हमारे पाकिस्तान का सबसे बड़ा अलमिया ये है कि जो भी हुकूमत आती है वो पिछली हुकूमत के काम को आगे चलाने के बजाय अपनी तख्ती लगाने के लिए उसको रोक देते हैं। अब अगर ये हो चुका होता तो इसने यहाँ से साइडों से जो है कवर्ड हो जाना था, ऊपर से बंद हो जाना था, इसमें जो है वो वेस्ट मटेरियल नहीं जाना था और ये इतने बड़े जो हालात हैं ये नहीं बनने थे।
This isn't bad weather or just heavy rains. This is the face of climate breakdown. Pakistan is living through it. Two brutal weather systems clash here. One brings scorching heat, the other unleashes relentless monsoon. Together, they wreak havoc, and the damage isn't new. You must have seen this before. In 2022, 1/3 of Pakistan was underwater. More than 1,000 people died, and 30 million were displaced. It caused $14.8 billion in damaged property and land, and $15.2 billion loss to the country's GDP. In 2023, global donors pledged $10 billion for Pakistan's recovery. By 2024, only $2.8 billion had come through. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Some of this damage was preventable. Pakistan's government blames the international community. It says they have not done enough to address the country's climate emergency. However, experts blame illegal construction, poor urban planning, and decades of governance failures. A 2023 report by a UN Habitat highlighted Pakistan's problem of disorganized urban planning. It said rapid rural-to-urban migration has led to sprawling slums due to an acute housing shortage. Pakistan climate experts too criticize the government's failure to implement meaningful climate reforms. Climate disasters don't knock, they burst in, and when they do, they don't spare anything. Each year the rains grow fiercer, each year the damage cuts deeper. Unless action follows, stories like this will keep repeating. And that's all we have on the show for today. We will see you again next week. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to Firstpost.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.